We had a 43-year-old ASA1 female patient presented to our neurologist with headache, nausea after doing planks. Sudden onset. The headache was positional, subsided in lying down position. It was a holocranial headache, and she was advised bed rest. Bed rest for 24 to 48 hours, symptomatically better in lying position, but no relief on sitting or in walking. So clinically diagnosed as low CSF pressure headache. The MRI was done, neuroimaging was done for her, and there was this Pachy meningeal enhancement. So if you can see, the meninges are in white and they are enhanced. So this is the diagnosis of spontaneous intracranial hypotension was made, and she was subjected to a CT myelogram. So CT myelogram showed a contrast leakage from D4 to D10. We could not pinpoint a single level at which this thing happened. The dural leak, CSF leak happened. So she was treated by the conservative management. 4 days after the conservative management with bed rest, IV fluids of 3 to 4 liters a day and caffeine, the symptoms still persisted. So she was getting counseled in the meanwhile for an epidural blood patch. So we did an epidural blood patch for her on day 5. So how do we evaluate the patients for coming for epidural blood patch? A complete preoperative evaluation, basically to rule out any anticoagulants any patient is on. And if there are any comorbidities, they need to be controlled. The medication details and main important thing is presence of infection needs to be ruled out. The site of dural tear and CSF leak has to be noted. This is an excellent opportunity to educate the patient about the procedure, and her cooperation is obtained because she is the one who guides you to the end point of the epidural blood patch. The blood investigations are sent for complete blood count, coagulation profile, blood culture, PCT and CRP. So blood culture basically to rule out any blood-borne infection, and a coagulation profile to rule out any coagulopathies, and PCT CRP to rule out any active infection. Now it is very important to take this opportunity and identify a good vein in arm so as to collect, and that has to be preserved. No blood should be taken at that from that arm, and no IV access should be taken on that vein. So the patient helps in telling that this vein should not be used by anyone else apart from anesthetist. So that, and if the venous access is poor, then they are given this exercise to build up their veins. The spine is examined at this point and risk of procedure explained. A written informed consent is obtained. Possibility of failure, which is very important to tell them that it may not work the first time and we may have to redo the procedure, is also explained to them at this point. So how was it done? The patient was taken to OT. All monitors, ECG, pulse oximeter, blood pressure were attached. Patent IV access, another vein from the venipuncture site was confirmed. The patient was placed in right lateral position because we had targeted the right cubital vein. So she had her arm outstretched for blood collection. D8, D9 space was identified, and 2 anesthesia consultants were required. So 2 teams, one for doing for placing the epidural, and second one for doing a aseptic collection for blood. So epidural space was first located under aseptic precautions. 20 ml of blood was then collected through a venipuncture under strict aseptic precautions and immediately handed over for epidural injection. So the method is gradual injection of blood into the epidural space was then commenced with constant communication with the patient. The patient may experience significant radicular pain. You stop for a while, the pain resides, then again push it. You are ultimately stretching the epidural space. Injection was stopped in this case at 18 ml when the patient herself complained of radicular pain on slightest of pressure. This was at the thoracic level. So epidural needle was then removed, dressing given, patient was placed in supine position. Instant relief from headache was noted at this point, and the patient was then monitored in OT for half an hour and then shifted to ICU for observation. She was allowed change in position in bed immediately. So turning from one side supine to lateral was allowed, made to sit up the next day, made to walk the next day, discharge on third post-operative day. So what complications do we watch out for during this period? Transient paresthesias, transient radicular lower extremity pain. This is in cases of lumbar epidural blood patch, low backache and pressure at the site of infection or injection, which may last up to 2 days, dizziness, vertigo, tinnitus and rebound intracranial hypertension. A low-grade fever has also been reported, and 2 rare complications of blood patch, which are the epidural abscess and nerve compression, resulting in transient or less frequently a permanent neurological damage, has also been reported. So it's very careful. We have to be very careful. We have to talk constantly to the patient so as not to over-exceed the volume that needs to be given. Ineffectiveness of procedure to resolve the headache or to result in only a partial response has been observed. And this is more likely to occur in patients with spontaneous intracranial hypotension where no target site was identified. So ours was also a very wide site. D4 to D10 was a wide site, but we could manage to do it. And these are the instructions that need to be given to the patient when the patient is getting discharged. So avoid strenuous activity, avoid constipation, stretching, bending, twisting, coughing, sneezing, with the nose closed and all these things should be avoided for at least 6 weeks. Here, in fact, we say avoid caffeine or salt because they may increase the CSF pressure and may worsen the rebound intracranial hypertension. And avoid, make a smooth transit from the hospital to home without any jerks in between. So this is what needs to be told to the patient and report to the neurologist or to the anesthesiologist if any symptoms recur. So thank you for your patient hearing, something different from PDPH, but this is what we had done successfully.